I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
Martin Smith. Here. David Walker.
Here.
Soren Peterson absent. Chuck Schultz.
Here.
Cam Gonzalez.
Here.
And Marcy Husted here.
Do we have any changes to the agenda? Motion to approve? Support. Been motioned and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next is approval of the consent agenda. The regular board meeting minutes from July 5th, 2016, the treasurer's report, and the clerk's warrants and bills.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next, communications. 1 through 4, Livingston County Sheriff's Report from June 2016. Notice that Michigan Public Service Commission resumes franchise operations, revenue sharing payment estimates from 2016-2017, and item number 4, revenue and expenditure report ending June 30th, 2016.
Moved to place communications 1 through 4 on file.
Support. Good motion and supported to receive and place communications item 1 through 4 on file. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next, public remarks. It's the opportunity for everybody in the public that wants to make any comments about the agenda or any other township business. Yes, please state your name and address for the record, please.
John McIntosh.
Oh, do we want to do the microphone?
Yeah, why don't you
for-
use the microphone because we're
Yeah.
airing this on TV and that way it can be,
It'll be clear.
it'll be a lot clearer. Thanks, Tom.
John McIntosh, Maple Hill, Lake Tyrone, resident. I'd like to know if by any chance the board has moved forward with any hardship cases, government agency, as far as this new $850 O&M charge that people are being asked to absorb. Is any agency you guys contacted for help for hardships on the lake for this new O&M?
I know that the Drain Commissioner's Office has established something through the county that they're working on.
The 211. Is it the 211? That's a county. There's
Right,
a
it's a
211.
county
with the
initiative. If you were to contact John Keir's office, he could put you in touch with the
Yeah, I
people.
did today. I talked to him personally,
Uh-huh.
and he told me that there is something going on with Oakland, Livingston, OSHA or something like that, and basically people that make barely $40,000 a year,
Oh, HHS.
And-
HHS.
and they would
Yeah. Health
either
and Human
pay
Services.
all of the O&M costs for those people, or those people would pay it up front and they would get reimbursed that money, because that $850 is for life. For life.
Okay.
And it's not gonna stay the same price, it's gonna go up.
I'm not, the township is not, we haven't been notified if it's a state agency or county agency.
Well, are you guys studying or starting to look at hardship cases because of this $27,000 bill and the new $850 O&M charge?
At the current time, we have not.
Okay, when do you guys plan on doing so?
Don't know that we are.
Yeah.
What about, I also asked that half that assessment would be put on the summer bill and the winter bill.
Right.
And Brian told me today that the weed and feed and the aeration bill will not appear on this year's tax bill. It'll appear on the next year tax bill.
This should be next summer.
Yeah, it has to be approved, and there's a meeting to do that, but I believe that it makes sense.
So you guys understand the pressure this puts on everybody on the lake, right?
Yeah, I live on the lake. I know exactly the pressures of
The
it.
only one up there is actually not paying for this debacle, you know what I'm saying? So
Well, like I said, I'm very familiar with it. So, yeah.
we would just ask that you would vigorously pursue anything possible to help people who've been on the lake for 35-plus years in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah, we're open to any options to that.
Fixed income, one day you'll all be on that fixed income, and hopefully you never have a $27,000 bill with $850 O&M charge added to that for life. Can I get a commitment for that?
Commitment for
You're
what?
gonna look into these things and help people on the lake?
We've always looked into them, and we continue to look so.
Let people know these things are available?
Well, absolutely, as they come,
Because
as they
sometimes
become
people have-
available, we
people
will.
have fear talking to people in the government, local government, because whether it's just not having the knowledge that's
Sure.
out there. But I hope you understand,
Sure.
this is one heck of a bill for people.
We fully understand.
I mean, you know, you guys are young. You guys don't understand. I'm talking about people 60, 70, 80 years old have got to eat this bill. You know, I mean, they could do something very mean and drastic to this
Sure.
township and pay this thing off, and you guys would have a $6,000 finance charge times how many people in the Tyrone side of the lake? How many people is that?
That's 84, I believe.
84 times 6 comes to what? $150,000 you guys would have to eat?
Yeah.
So I think it'd be good if you guys help the people that actually need the help before they...
We do provide information in the newsletter. We do have the 211 is in there.
What newsletter are you talking about?
We send a newsletter with the tax bill every summer and winter tax bill.
Probably
And we
a good
do
idea to
inform,
do it.
and we do have information on our website, so we do try to inform residents if there's county programs for hardship assistance, deferrals for your taxes. We put all of that in the newsletter. So we definitely,
Good idea to do that prior to, so I mean...
Sure.
Let them know what they...
And this conversation is perfect for business hours. This is a public comment, and we've been answering questions. Kind of need to move on with that, but if you'd like more information and would like to talk to us more, we're always open.
No, I know your names and phone numbers.
Yep,
And you
so,
know mine. And you know where my heart's at, is with those people. It just... It ain't right.
we didn't force it on them.
No comment on that one.
It was DEQ.
No comment.
We know it's not.
No comment on that one.
All right, next. Anybody else? All right, thank you. Move on to the next item. Unfinished business, Heartland Road tree removal. At the last meeting, I had made mention that there was some issues with the company that we awarded the bid to, which is the Michigan Tree Service. He undershot his bid and he missed some of the work. I asked him what he was going to do. He went back out with Wayne from the Road Commission, found the 2 trees that he missed, and said that, you know, he admitted that he made a mistake, that he missed part of the bid, and he said that he would go ahead and finish the work for an additional $1,000. Subsequently, that would be still lower than our lowest bid by about $90. You know, we do have a contract that says he wants to do it. The question there comes in, do we want to fight over $1,000 and incur legal costs or potential court costs with this, or do we want to go ahead and approve the $1,000 and go ahead and get the work done so we can continue with the project?
Is there resolution or motion required?
Yeah, there would be a motion for
So
that.
moved.
Okay,
I would support that.
okay. It's been motioned and supported to go ahead and pay the additional $1,000 cost for Michigan Tree to correct their bid and finish the tree work. Any further discussion?
Does this alleviate any time crunch then for reference to the road project?
Yeah, he said he'll be able to get it done. He had a walkthrough with Wayne, supervisor from the Road Commission, and they've got it all worked out, and he knows exactly what needs to be done now. so.
Okay, all right. Okay, it was a 2,900 difference because we used Ronald's last year.
Mhm.
So if we had stayed with Ronald's, we're still going to save because they were 5,800. So, okay.
There's nothing else going to be missed? A bid's a bid.
We go to court and spend $10,000
Yeah.
to force you to do $1,000 worth of work, or we pay them $1,000 to walk away. It's really not much about decision. We have a work that needs to be done. It has to be done before the road can be improved. And I think it's a cheap fix at this point in time. If anybody can make a mistake, he did. he made an error, and I say he's coming close, it's still cheaper than the lowest bid we had. So, and I am the cheapest guy here, believe me, I don't spend the money, township money, cheap.
Now, you know,
I'm the most.
he did admit, not only to myself, but to Wayne, that he made, you know, a big tmistake, and that, you know, he wanted to try and make it right with us the best he could, and I still think that we're below the lowest bid.
And it's clear what work needs to be done, that because he met with
Right.
commission. Okay.
I think for the $1,000 as opposed to, you know, making a stuff stance on the fact that we have a contract and trying to litigate it, we are heading down a slippery slope and it costing us thousands more, the work not getting done and the project being put off. So. All right, I'll call for a vote on that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No,
All right. Okay, we got one opposed, the motion still carries.
we got 2 opposed.
Two?
Two
Okay,
nays.
the motion still carries. Next item on the agenda is revision to the sewer use and rate ordinance number 43 to include residential equipment units for REU assignment to wedding barns. When we put our sewer ordinance together, we have all these different user assignments for REUs, and there's an REU factor. Well, we have a new business in town, it's a wedding barn. We don't have an assigned REU, and the owner of the wedding barn needs to purchase REUs to use the sewer system for their facility. I kind of put together, you know, a spreadsheet of some of the things that were popular, and or they were similar, not popular, but similar. But not equal to. We currently have a bed and breakfast with an REU unit factor of 1 unit per 1,000 square feet. Country clubs, they're kind of similar. They're 1.5 units per 1,000 square feet. Athletic clubs, 1.5 units per 1,000 square feet. Banquet halls, 1.8 units per 1,000 square feet. And then also too, Mark Meisel did some calculations and he thought that the wedding barn, which is at 2,220 square feet, should have 3.5 REUs.
Lining it with what, Mike? Is it lining it more with a banquet hall, or?
Well, that's the question. We have to kind of try and determine what we feel that use is, based on what the approval is. Now, I know there's only going to be so many weddings there, but I do know that, hey, when there's a wedding, there's
Is it
flow.
necessary? I mean, I know the table has quite a few different users listed, but there is farther down at the end of the table that indicates classifications not specifically listed shall be assigned values as determined by the township, but no facility shall be assigned less than 1 unit.
Right.
So is it really necessary to add, because there are going to, an upcoming business is going to be existing, do we need to add it to the table? Or can you base it off of the fact that there's the option that the township can determine if it's not an actual listed facility in the table? I mean, I don't know.
Well, regardless, it says that the township, which meaning us, the board, has to determine what that is. So we can either determine what it's going to be for her business unit or determine what it's going to be for wedding barns. Is this going to be the first one? Is this going to be the last one? Or is this an exercise that you want to do for everyone?
Or I don't know. Right.
It's for
So it's
us to
either
determine.
revise the ordinance table or just make a decision on the specific one time, and then each time have to keep doing that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I would say that if we set the precedence of doing it, then we'd have to look at each one as a business unit and do it that way.
Okay. All right.
So, I know that there's, Val, how many weddings are you going to do a year there? Did it say in the approval?
The most I could ever do is 26.
Okay.
Oh, just,
So
there
we're,
was so many,
right.
only so many days.
So you're looking at a business unit for this particular instance that's going to have 26 weddings. I've been to several weddings. I know that there's usually a heavy bathroom usage due to the various activities and things that are occurring there. But like I said, it's only 26 times. So what REU equivalent would be suitable for that, would be the question.
Also that, had I known about these REUs, I would have had time to have other or I'm more than 200 feet away from mine, so I could have been exempt. But since this was sprung on me 2 weeks before I'm going to open, I have no options right now but to pay the sewer. I don't know that I would have gone along with it.
Well, I went back and looked at some of the minutes, and there was definitely sewer and septic mentioned in the planning.
I was being, like, ordered to by the drain commissioner. They told me I had to hook up, but then I found out that there's really a law that says I don't have to hook up if I'm more than 200 feet, so I feel misled.
Well,
Was that with some of the discussions with health department? Because you pursuing other options, but they kept saying no.
Trailers for a long time, so
Right.
I pursued that
This one makes
for
more
a long
sense to
time.
me.
And they give me different answers every time I go in there. The first answer I got said, if you're under 180 guests, you're exempt because you're not considered a public assembly under section 700. The next time I heard from them, they said, I said, how many weddings could I do with luxury trailers? I don't know. I'm like, what's the law say? Well, there really isn't. So they just came up with a rule that said if you do more than 2, we're going to make you hook up to the city.
right. Well, unfortunately, we don't control, the health department and what their decisions are.
Mr. Supervisor,
Sure.
if I could,
Sure,
my name's Mike Keel, and I'm an attorney in Howell, and I'm here
Sure.
along with Ms. Johnson. If I would like to make a couple of comments. I looked at the 3.5 REUs that was scheduled. I've taken a little look at your ordinance. I have just a few brief comments I'd like to make it for your consideration.
Sure, absolutely.
If that's all right.
Sure.
And I understand, I represent several townships here in Livingston County
We just-
myself, so
Yeah, there you go.
So I know that it's difficult under these kind of circumstances when you get something new and you have to try and figure out, well, where do we plug it into the ordinance? But in looking at the calculations and the recommended 3.5 REUs, to me, that just seems too high for what she's proposing, because that would assume 21,000 gallons of water a month would be used there based on your ordinance calculations of 6,200 gallons per REU. So based on that, that'd be 21,000 a month or 5,000 gallons for one evening event. And we're talking a facility that only has 2 bathrooms, a woman's bathroom with 2 stalls and a men's bathroom with 1 stall and 1 urinal. And the current federal regulations require a toilet to have no more than a 1.6 gallon per flush. So with that, with just 1 REU, you'd be talking about 1,000 toilet flushes for an event. So if you triple that, if you go to 3.5 times that, I'm talking about a lot of flushes. And on top of that, the facility is such that there's an occupancy limit of 99 people, and that includes the catering staff. There are no employees as such, and there's going to be no food prepared there. Everything will be catered in. All of the beverages and all of that type of thing will be carried in. No dishes will be done there. It's just bring it in, serve it, and then it's disposed of. Nothing is washed there. So there's other than the toilets, there's not the kind of water usage or flow that you would get with restaurants or anything along those lines. And it almost seems like maybe it's a little closer to, or something to consider, would be your fraternal organization, based just be blunt. And and the other thing too would be, just from a financial standpoint, to ask her to come up with 3.5 REUs, that's a really big bullet to bite for a new business. And since this is the first time you're looking at this, maybe you could really give some consideration to starting lower. Because if you, just as an example, if you give her or assess her at 1 REU for the business, you're going to meter it. You're going to see what that actual water flow is that's going in there. You'll know what she's generating. You'll at least get the O&M off of that. If you're too low, if she's in fact using more than 1 REU, you'll at least generate from an O&M standpoint the amount she's using. And it'll also give you something to go on so that in the future you could justifiably amend your ordinance if you need be, because you have her as the starting point. You can say, well, we did this with the one wedding barn idea, and we have discovered that it needs 2 or 2.5 or whatever. But if she has to sign up for 3.5 at this point, she may not get out of the gate, and we'll run into some real serious problems. So I would ask you to give serious consideration to going low, since this is your first one, the threshold. Set that threshold low, and then use it to base future ones on. And so anyway, I just think 3.5 when I think about the number of gallons and all of that kind of stuff. It just seems way too high. So I would ask you to give real serious consideration, please, to starting lower, and then you can always move up, and justifiably so, because you'll have data to base it on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just so I'm clear, do you mind if I ask a question? There's no cooking on premise, just to be clear,
No.
I didn't,
No,
there's
no.
nothing in the notes, so there's no cooking on premises?
There are no cooking facilities, no food preparation or anything. Everything is just brought right in by a caterer, with the
Okay.
chafing dishes
Yeah,
and things
sure.
like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, no cooking.
Cleanup is done off premises then as well?
Cleanup's all done off
Off-premise.
premises too, yeah.
And REU's based on about,
By, if I may, please, by this, the 1 REU that's on the property was originally intended for the residents
And it already is being
And it is.
used for the residents. Alone,
So we
yes.
are adding 3.5 to the barn.
well, we're not, we haven't determined.
No,
We're
I
just-
mean,
We're
that's what
discussing it,
the
yeah.
Yeah, we're
proposal is.
discussing that.
Discussing the adding 3.5, that would give her 4.5 for the property. Is that, am I reading this correctly?
That's what it would do
We
if we did
assigned
that.
that, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
what we could, I don't know how hard it would be, if I remember, you guys had engineered drawings of the barn and everything like that, right? What may help is, the engineers may have a formula for capacity, and with just a bathroom and nothing else to use, they may have load calculations. I mean, because if you got 100 people there for a wedding, including staff, you're probably anywhere between 350 and 450 gallons just on flushing toilets. So, and if they're only going to have a couple a year, if she's just starting out, I'm kind of for looking at that to see, making sure you don't have to really boost this up to what it really is never going to be.
Right.
Even if it's something of that nature, whether they can tell you, hey, at this load, you just got bathrooms, you got a drinking fountain or something like that in there, and that's it. Maybe a little wash basin, and you're never going to really go over a certain amount of usage, and for intermittent half of the year use, you might run into this and break it down throughout the whole year, and that would give us a real good steady way to calculate the REU usage.
Now, the county indicated it was a duplex grinder pump is what was to be installed if you hook into the sewer system.
Bob Demonovich recommended the duplex grinder if I had a bed and breakfast there.
Oh,
I don't know,
okay.
he thinks I have a bed and breakfast there. I keep telling him you guys didn't approve me.
Bed and breakfast, okay.
So that was more for the home,
That was when I came in and said I wanted to have a bed and breakfast.
yeah. But then you switched,
Weddings
Right.
outdoor.
which that may be down
But
the
if-
line.
That line is
Sure.
obviously going to connect in, you're going to have one grinder. I would still think that you would need a duplex grinder just to handle the flow of the wedding, coupled with the house.
And that,
I have one for my house,
right,
Okay, so you have one for your house, okay.
yeah.
yes. And it's
I don't
being
know why I
used.
have to get another, a duplex grinder plus the grinder I have on my house. I don't know what, I think they just want the money.
It's all about
Well,
Yeah.
My excavator that hooked up my first grinder said, by the way, they charge you for a grinder that you did not get, so you should go there with it. Of course, I'm going to ask for it.
yeah. I can't answer that question. That would have to be with the drain commissioner's office. They're the ones that operate it and do that.
Right.
Well, you know, I don't know that if 3.5 REUs is, it seems high. We have a men's room and a bathroom. I'm thinking we need to be somewhere between 1 and 2.
It seems like the calculation is more based on the square footage and more of a all-time use, where it's obviously a seasonal type business.
Well, it's just like when they calculate your occupancy load, and sometimes we do commercial projects where it looks like the load of the building could potentially be higher. If the owner of the business has a stated affidavit saying its occupancy load is going to be this, then they don't have to go higher up on the requirements. But
Right.
this may be something to look at if we can get something in writing from your engineer that did your drawings, could tell us, hey, this is what our average usage is, and we can go, okay, we can zero this in on that, and that's your affidavit. Now, if you go over that, that's going off your word, but that allows you to get a more accurate reading
Right.
on what your proposed use is going to be. I don't know if they'll do that for you, but they might.
Something I didn't mention is her square footage is limited to 1,400 for the actual event itself. The overall building is 2,200, but the occupancy
Oh,
is
your
based on...
occupancy usage,
The occupancy load is based on 1,400 square feet, so that's something that I'd ask you to keep in mind too.
And they made me build a wall, because my building's bigger.
Right.
And they said, we don't trust you, so you build a wall, so it will only fit 99.
I'm not comfortable with recommending 3 or 3.5.
Are you looking to really revise the ordinance, or you just want to put in a special,
I think this one's more of a.
I mean, are you really going to add this as a schedule for the?
I don't think we
to
need
the
to do a
ordinance, or do you
revision to
just
the
want to-
ordinance. I think this is more of a specific
Yeah,
circumstance
specific request?
to where we can just make the classification by the
The-
township to assign.
The ordinance allows us to do either one, so.
And we
Another thing I'd like you guys to consider is, when other barns come into this township, the likelihood of them developing on a place that has sewer lines,
Right.
that's kind of a fluke that I bought that land that was right there.
They just fell into it, yeah.
I think all these other barns, if I get a lot of competitors in this township, and I should have been given that right too. I feel like I should have been given other options.
Right. Well, that's all predicated on the health department.
So I'm looking at a number of the options within this schedule that you've provided and try to find a happy medium. So if you're interested in entertaining a motion, I will move that we provide special, and this is going to be the wrong language, so if you need to clean it up, Terry, that's fine. Special use for this wedding barn at 1.5 REUs.
That would be one for the residents, 1.5
this-
for
I'm-
the...
No,
I'm
it's
not
just
talking
for the
about
barn.
residents.
This is the
residents
barn
are-
only.
The residence is already established at 1.
Just the barn.
I'm not talking about the residents. This is just,
I would be willing to support
And that's
that.
determining by what? What is your determining factor?
I've got a lot of different, it's a, you want to know the honest answer is it's a Wagner number, which is a wild-ass guess that's not easily refutable. Because they're all over the map in this schedule. So it seems like a reasonable compromise with, by way of example, I've got fraternal organizations that are with rentals that are at anywhere from 1 with members only to 2 for rentals. I've got country clubs that are at 1.5. Unfortunately, there is not a single wedding barn in this schedule, so
There is not.
is exactly what I just said. It is a compromise number that is completely made up at this point.
What if you take that offer and you consider that I'm seasonal, so I'm only open half the amount of time that a fraternal organization is, half the time that a country club is?
Well, country clubs are only open half the year, too.
No,
Yeah.
Oak Point Country Club's open all year long.
Yeah.
And they have restaurants.
Well, I think you've got a motion.
You had a
to
motion and a
support.
support.
We have a motion and a support for 1.5 RUs for the Val Royale Wedding Barn. Any further discussion?
Is there any way we can entertain something if they get something in writing from an engineer that says this building will only use?
She does have a statement filed.
That's my only problem with just shooting a number across, and no offense
She does have,
If you got a better solution, I'm all ears.
you have a statement filed which was required by the planning commission on your usage of the facility, right? And that specifies only so many,
So many
the
events.
26 events.
I believe it was.
So she's already under file with the land use permit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she can only hold so many events.
Right.
And it's a sign, it's an agreement, signed with the
What I'm
township.
saying is that the engineer that's already done the work for her, she can make a phone call and go, based on this use, with the
Right.
implements of the building, how many gallons of usage
There-
are we
there
talking
is-
about? And they can,
And,
Spit out
well,
a
there also
number.
is time constraints because she has a wedding schedule that she needs to be operating.
Yeah.
So,
I did have a conversation with my civil engineer. Knowledge of the flow of toilets and.
it's
She told
like,
me-
like,
and the drainage
like
was
David
the
said,
same thing.
it's a
He said,
wag.
That's your township's, that's your township's responsibility to
So,
determine.
you're gonna have,
I just think 3.5 seems excessive.
I do
That was
too.
the-
I do
That was
too.
the
And you know
lower
what?
compromise out of the schedule, and you guys can vote it up or down, but it's
I don't
a
think that 1.5 is unreasonable.
compromise situation.
no,
It,
I don't. I'm just,
Don't either.
trying to look at
Sure.
a better
Yeah, I
angle,
get that.
what have you, for
I'm having-
the value.
One of the things that I have been with Ms. Johnson from the beginning, the very first we met, it's been a long, long process, a learning process for all of us. We've never had anything like this, and when she first came to us, I invited her, please. And I said, it has been a learning process for all of us. And I'm glad to say that she has, over time, supplied us with everything that we asked her for. And I think that what was motioned by Mr. Walker is a very good motion, very good compromise. I think it serves everyone. To expect her to go back and have an engineer do additional expense for her. She's already has an extremely amount of money for this event or this venture that she's gone on. And I think that any further expense would be not really suggested. Sure.
I think 1.5 is a lot better than 3.5 for them.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that, so. There's no other comments, then I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I'm
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is establish a policy to permit sewer deferral payments to purchase additional sewer residential equivalent units as referenced in sewer use and rate ordinance number 43.
Okay, this was a legal question in the sense of, obviously, for our last subject, having assigned additional REUs to a parcel. These would be unassigned REUs, and we needed to set policy if we want to provide a deferral payment. It's an option that in our sewer rate and ordinance, the board can set policy to allow for deferral payments for, and we're basing this only on additional REUs. Currently, under legal he said the policy could be modified later if the board wants to consider other options, in the sense of if we have more hardships with individuals, that's something we can discuss at another time and modify the policy. This is in specifically our applicant we just had here, if she does need the additional, let's say the 1.5 REUs would be additional to that parcel. If she needs help in getting payment towards those, if she can prove to us that she's having hardship, she can't get a loan, and she needs to buy these REUs so she can get these installed and ready to go by this wedding event. This is just an option. Legal reviewed it, said it is an option under the rate ordinance that we can allow. We just have to set policy. So he's gone through, we've worked on this together, but he's referenced the actual ordinance number and what section it applies to. But then we were very specific on what those hardships would have to be. There's a lot of criteria that the applicant and the township has to provide for an agreement to be signed. On the second page, under the hardship deferment, it may be granted if capacity to the system is available. We're indicating the parcel must already contain one assigned REU, which is paid in full, to be assigned additional REUs. Additional REUs are to be determined by our user table as stated in our user rate ordinance. In addition to the basic permit fee, we have different rates and down payments and interest criteria. The A through H are criteria that would have to be signed under a contract. So this is just in addition, it's a policy we can establish if we want to allow deferral payments for those that need to buy additional REUs and may not have the funding. Their bank may turn them down for a loan. You know, I think under legal counsel, the idea is that we don't want to become a lending institution. Tyrone Township doesn't want to be a bank. We don't want to use our taxpayers' monies to lend just for people to buy an REU. This is to understand that there actually is a hardship. They have to prove the hardship. And then if we set the policy, we have to follow what the criteria set in the policy is.
Now, is that putting it on the tax roll? Their taxes are, or they're going to have to pay a monthly payment?
This would be under a monthly payment. It would be a signed contract agreement, and it would be a recorded lien at the county. The sense of like a mortgage gets like a first lien on the property. We would try to get that first, or it would be second. So it'd be a recorded lien on the property. So if the property, if they walked away and it sold, we would be at least on the top 2 of the list for a lien holder. And this is something the board, you've looked over this, there was a sample agreement they worked on. This may be something we don't even want to consider. You know, it's that fine line. Do we want to lend and try to help with very specific criteria that we only lend when there's a true proven hardship?
How many people that are in the sewer district that are going to have to connect don't even have an REU yet?
Right, and that was something we discussed because we have individuals. That is
It's
going
not
to
for the
be
individual, this is for someone who already has an REU
Right.
that wants to purchase
additional.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a little different, but that's something that the board may need to discuss and consider in the future, if that's a deferral option that we want to look into.
Here's the question that I have with this contract. Is there an opportunity for us to get into another sticky situation like Cider Mill Crossings with this?
There always is that a risk to,
You know,
that
that-
they'll default.
That was,
Right.
But then again, I mean, if you have a big developer coming in, will he be able to meet the hardship criteria?
Right. The hardship criteria is very, very specific. They actually have to provide annual reviews, and at each annual review, if the hardship does not exist anymore, they have to pay it off. So it sort of like defaults the agreement because now they're no longer in a hardship mode if they're 1 or 2 years into it. And they actually have, you can look at their income, tax statements, and if they are no longer in that hardship mode, the agreement actually says they would have to pay it off in full that year.
So what constitutes a hardship? Just because somebody wants to make an investment in their property and they don't have enough money to do it? Or
Right.
is
It's-
it in the case where somebody is just, hey, you're caught?
The
you have to
hardship would,
add-
they would have to provide proof that maybe they went to get the loan from the bank. It would have to be a letter from the bank lending institution, like their loan center, indicating that, we will not loan, this business has started, we already have extended loans to this amount. We won't extend equity line of credit. It's a new startup business. They would have to provide proof of that. They could provide proof of like their, where their income status is. When you have a new business, you probably don't have much income to show. And then it could be an established business that's expanding that is having trouble trying to get monies loaned to them. And it's that fine line. Do we want to take that kind of risk on? If they're not able to get the loan, they can show proof they couldn't get it. Do we want to step into an agreement to try to help that business along, knowing it's a risk?
I'd be more apt to help the people that are going to be forced to connect, opposed to just because somebody wants to make a capital improvement. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To exclude them for this, I think is a bad move.
Okay.
Publicly, I think it's a bad move.
I agree.
So, because there's going to be a bunch of people who won't be able to afford to connect. And if we're
Right.
doing this that excludes them,
Yeah, and this already
Very
has, where
bad.
you already have, they own an REO already on
Yeah.
their property. And they
That's-
just want additional. And they're,
point.
how do I front the money for that? Can you loan me the money to get me going on it? Right. Yeah.
My concern is with future liabilities. I think
Yeah.
we one time had a hardship clause and we got burned on it in court.
Yep.
And I don't recall the specifics on it, and there might have been some clerical errors here at the township, but who could be here in 10 years making those decisions? Obviously, I'm not trying to put anybody down in the future, but we have to make decisions that are going to protect our long-term vested interest in the township. It's a tough one. I mean, obviously, you don't want to try and help people move along and move forward, but then again, we can't do it, in my opinion, we can't do it at the expense of the residents. I've seen enough issues where we've been left holding the bag on the sewer system, and it's hurt all of our residents and things that we've wanted to do in the past, so it's a hard sell for me.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
it takes away services if you're loaning.
You become a Tier 3 loaning institution at this point.
Right.
So I'm not real.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I can see that, does anybody want to make a motion on this? Okay, then that's
Dead.
dead in the water.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution to proceed with the Shannon Glen Waste Removal Project.
Okay. So the Shannon Glen subdivision is interested in,
Can you make it bigger? Kind of small. That little
Yeah, the
plus sign?
percentage.
Yeah, right there.
how's
That's
that?
better.
They're interested in establishing a single waste hauler for their subdivision, and they've circulated petitions and got the required signatures. And so this first resolution is just authorization to proceed with the project and directing preparation of the plans and cost estimates. So, go ahead and make a...
Well, this is exactly what we've talked about with our trash collection and, wanting single haulers, and I think we've come to the conclusion, hey, if the residential areas want to do this, and they get together and they get the petition circulated, so this is exactly what they want to do, so I would entertain the resolution motion for this.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to approve to proceed with the Shannon Glen waste removal project. Any further discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk?
Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
Marcy Husted, yes. Marna Smith?
Yes.
Cam Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chuck Schultz?
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes.
And Soren Peterson absent.
And that resolution carries. Next is resolution to proceed with the Great Oaks Road Maintenance Project.
No, for the public hearing.
No, you have to do the.
You
Schedule
skipped
the
one,
first hearing.
number 4.
All right, I'm sorry. Resolution to schedule first hearing for Shannon Glen Waste Removal Project.
So this is the resolution that we're going to be sending out notification to all of the residents in the special assessment district, letting them know that there's going to be a public hearing held on August 4th. And that will be their opportunity to show up, and if they have any concerns or questions, that's their opportunity to speak.
Seems a little incongruous to approve the first resolution and not do the second, so resolved.
Support.
Been resolved and supported to schedule the first hearing for Shannon Glen Waste Removal Project. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
Marcy Husted, yes. Marna Smith?
Yes.
Cam Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chuck Schultz?
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes.
And Soren Peterson absent.
That resolution carries. Next is resolution to proceed with Great Oaks Road Maintenance Project.
We've done this for the last couple of years, have we not?
Yes.
This one is, it's snow removal and road maintenance, and it's due to expire March 31st of next year, so they circulated a petition, got the required signatures to continue the road maintenance for another 10 years, and 10 years. So this resolution is just to proceed with the project and directing preparation of the plans and cost estimates.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to proceed with the Great Oaks Road Maintenance Project. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
Marcy Husted, yes. Marna Smith?
Yes.
Cam Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chuck Schultz?
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes.
And Soren Peterson absent.
Next item is that resolution carries. Next is resolution to schedule first hearing for Great Oaks Road Maintenance Project.
You don't even have to put it up there. So
Okay.
resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to schedule the first hearing for the Great Oaks Road Maintenance Project. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please? And I wouldn't mind if you went backwards this time.
I will do that. David Walker?
Yes.
Chuck Schultz?
Yes.
Cam Gonzalez?
Yes.
Marna Smith?
Yes.
Marcy Husted, yes. And Mike Cunningham?
Yes,
And Soren Peterson absent.
and that resolution carries. Next is Planning Commission and ZBA appointments. Every year we have appointments that expire for the Planning Commission and the ZBA. Al Poole has expressed great interest to stay on, so I would like to appoint Al Poole for a 3-year term to expire on 8/31/19. And Ann Linder has resigned from the Planning Commission, and I would like to appoint Kurt Schulze. His would be 8/31/19, and Kurt is here if you want to say hi and introduce yourself real quick, that would be fine.
Hi, I'm Kurt Schultz. I lived in Tyrone now for almost 25 years. With planning and zoning commission, Yeah, I used to work for Citizens Bank, and I work for
Yeah, and Kurt's been interested for quite some time, and I'm glad that the Moon and Stars aligned and that we're able to have him here, because I think he's going to be a great asset for us, so thanks, Kurt. So over on the Zoning Board of Appeals, both Joe Trollman and Jeff Young have expressed interest to continue on, and I would like to have their terms expire on 8/31/19 as well.
Are you looking for a motion?
All right, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the Planning Commission and ZBA appointments. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Thank you very much. We'll get with you and get you some more information.
Date on that one, you had it expiring on the 16th.
Yeah,
Oh, oops.
just a typo.
Typo.
I said it right.
You said it
You
right.
said it right. Yep. Yeah.
Picking on the help, are you?
Dot me and I across the T's.
All right.
Okay, next is item number 8, request to pursue legal action on Walnut Shores and Carmer Road properties for zoning violations. We have 3 parcels that are in question. I'm not going to give the person's name. I don't like to publicly air people's problems out. So the one address is on Carmer Road. It's a parcel number 470410302-043. The other 2 are on Walnut Shores. There are co-ownerships on this. The one on Walnut Shores is 470409-400-001, and the other one on Walnut Shores is 470409-400-010. These properties have been in and out of enforcement 10 years. As you can look at some of these pictures, that's one of the Walnut Shores properties. You can see the siding's off, you can see that there's roofing missing. It's pretty much an unlivable. That is actually a low picture of the weeds. Actually, the weeds are probably about 4 foot high. Back there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's abandoned cars. So if you want to click to the next one.
I'll have to go into.
Okay, sure.
Let
This
me
is
go
the
into
Carmer Road property. You can see the roof is sagging. There's a tree that has fallen over. It's on top of the house. Can't get to the driveway because it's all overgrown. It's a dilapidating structure. There's a bunch of junk around back, and it's a complete eyesore. We've got some more pictures that we'll be able to pull up if you just be patient. And while she's doing that, there was a little bit of progress being made, and I told her that I wanted her to contact me every month, let me know what she was doing. I haven't had contact from her from 6 months. I have sent letters to her property, her address, and nothing being returned. Here's another old beat-up abandoned vehicle that's on the Walnut Shores property. See all the junk that's stored in it? Here's another abandoned vehicle.
It's a cool truck.
You can see that they're all quite expired, and that's in, what, 2008?
Yeah.
So keep clicking.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Yeah,
She's got good taste.
Whoa.
the Cadillac. All these have expired plates, and they're
Another Corvette.
that's Walnut Shores property.
Wow.
You can see the weeds growing up on the driveway. There's a boat that's not current on its registration, a van. You can see all the junk around the van next to the boat. That's Walnut Shores as well.
That looks bad.
Wow.
Oh,
Well,
cars.
that's technically then right under a junkyard.
So moved.
Okay. It's been motioned and supported to pursue legal actions on the 3 aforementioned parcels. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. We have no more new business. We don't have any miscellaneous business. Last opportunity for public remarks or comments. All right.
On the legal action, what exactly does that mean?
What that means is we're going to send this evidence over to our attorney. Our attorney will prepare an order an order to show cause, which will go before the judge with the facts, and the judge will probably set some sort of follow-up hearing to determine if there's any assets or whatever. I don't know exactly what would happen next, but eventually what will end up happening is that they'll order her to clean it up or sell some of those items to clean it up, or sell the properties, or authorize the township to do it and then levy her taxes. So I don't know exactly what the ruling would be. I don't have a crystal ball. I do know that the judge that hears these has a penchant for ruling in favor of the townships when these type of things happen. But like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know what she'll rule on it, but we're definitely going to take the action forward and see what happens. So, any other questions or comments? All right, with that being said, I'll take a motion to
Adjourn.
Yep, motion. It's been motioned and supported to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned.
The motion,
Well, that'd be a written.
motion not debatable. The only motion that's neither debatable or amendable.
There you go.
Kidding.
Nice